Thanks, William. Hey, everybody. I see my Appleton stores chilling. All my people in Wisconsin. It's good to be back. I don't have to wear a mask because I'm in my own personal studio space, which has been very delightful. I know that's a whole nother conversation we could have, but it's really good to be here. Like really, really good. And I hope you like my coffee mug too. I just threw that in there for a little flair for you guys. So, Andrea, Danny, you guys did a great job. Andrea, I just have to say that Making America Bomb thing again, that was pretty fun. I'm definitely gonna use that. But right now, I mean, I really got to talk about gels and creams because in Wisconsin here, especially, um, uh, you guys know where I come from, right? My background and working with a specific line that specializes in gel color. And in this area, we use a ton of that gel color. So today I have come up with a full comparison chart, which uh, I'm working on the format. So I did send it to William. We can put it up on the screen. I just want to give it to you guys in a different format, just so you can see it in all the columns and everything. But I will be going through certain formulas today, especially when it comes to colors like 4BV or 6RG. And those of you that use that color line that you know what I'm talking about, it's very specific that we get those formulas right so that you can take your client from that gel color into a cream color seamlessly, and that it's all just going to match up and everything like that. So yeah, so I'll just kind of jump right into that. I've prepped a mannequin here for you guys, and what I try to do on the mannequin, and I'll kind of show you up close a little bit, is put the color book on the mannequin head. So for my people with Reliable, Connie, I'm just calling you out right now. I'm going to show you this head and maybe give it to you guys so you can use it and show your clients what it really, really does look like on the hair. So there's a big difference between creams and gels, right? If you don't know what the difference is, I'll tell you right now, it's pigment and pigment weight. Okay, so if you're using gel color right now, it has a lot less pigment in it. It's more translucent, it's more natural. You don't see that line of demarcation on the grow out, and that's what your clients are normally used to seeing. With a cream color, on the other hand, the pigments are heavier. So especially with Prorituals, with our chromo prism technology, we really pack those pigments in there really, really well. So what I've done is adjusted the levels and adjusted some of the ratios that you're going to have to use to switch your clients from that to that, so you can get full gray coverage, but still have a very natural looking hair color. So I'm just going to kind of dive into that. First though, let me put my coffee down. And I do have Jordan with me over here, Miss Jordan. She's going to be assisting me today. Hi, Jordan. I say hi to the world. Actually, I'm going to have her mix this color up, and this is a 5 tobacco, which isn't really in the other line, which is kind of nice. All right, y'all. For those gel users out there, this is going to be your favorite tool in the entire world. Okay, this is how I personally came up with the charts, as well as swatching, things of that nature. But over here, it tells you exactly what the underlying pigment is at that level. And up here, I don't know if you can read it. It tells you exactly what's in the color and what the base is. All right, so if we look at this chart and I'm like, okay, yeah, my client is normally a 6N. Let's just go, because everyone in Wisconsin is a 6N for some odd reason. We go down here to the fundamentals, and I'll get into the why it's a fundamental and not the neutral, okay? So we go down to our 6 fundamental. I know the underlying pigment's going to be here. I know that it is a brown neutral gold base, all right? And that's what we're going to throw on the client's head. With that said, there's always going to be a level difference, okay? So if you're going from gels to creams, it's a 2-level difference on average. I'm going to repeat that again. It is a 2-level difference on average. So if you are used to putting a 4BV on your client, you're going to probably bump that up 2 levels. And don't quote me on all this, because I can't sit there in front of your client and see the porosity and the amount of gray, and you know what I mean? So there's a lot of variables that do go into this. But on an average, it's always a 2-level up. So if you're used to putting a 6, you're going to use an 8. If you're used to using a 4, you're going to use a 6. And it's much easier when I can see everybody and talk to everybody. Does that make sense? Okay, good. But yeah, this chart will be in the back of your book. And again, just for formulating purposes, be a colorist too. Like, it's funny, we we have these clients that come in all the time. It's like, yep, come on down, Betty, come get your, your 6N on your head, and then we get you in and out the door. We should still always be formulating for the head and what it does. In the summertime, my clients like, no, I got to use different formulas. So let's be real colorists here and really think about underlying pigment level and going from cream to gel. Again, this is very important. What I've done for you guys here too today is I made this book, and I suggest if you do come from a gel world where I was living, I suggest you do this. Okay, so I took the chart out of that book and I put it right next to the chart in the Prorituals book. Okay, this makes your life just a lot easier. You can go and write down all the formulas I'm going to give you, and you go on the Prorituals website and get all this information. But just doing this in your salon right away is just really going to help you formulate your clients. So for one, this is the Cool series in the line that I was familiar with. Okay, and then the Cool series is now going to translate to our Natural series. Prorituals Natural series is very cool. Danny touched on that earlier. Prorituals in general is a decently cool line. Even though we use a lot more yellow pigment at the top levels, and you need that for gray coverage. Let's just be very clear. It doesn't make it warmer. Yellow has to live out there, and you need that to cover the gray. But our neutrals are true matte color. Okay, so our cools here are going to match our neutrals here. In this case, in this cool level system right here, it is a 1 level difference on average. And that's just because of the way that this was formulated and the way we are formulating. So I have like notes up here. I'm just going to kind of reference real quick in front of me. So a 4N in my line here is going to be a level 5 in that gel line that you may be using, or most gel lines on the market for that matter. And we're talking about permanent hair color here. We're not talking about demi-permanent or anything like that. This is a permanent hair color line. This is also a permanent hair color, okay? Now for where I come from, this 4BV in this line, that is a very important color. You need that to pretty much achieve almost anything. Now in Prorituals line, the 4BV translates to, where am I at here? My 5N. Okay, that's going to give you the same amount of depth and the same colors, thank you, Jordan, that the 4BV will give you. And again, 4BV, 5 neutral in Prorituals. Okay, that's a very, very important one. When we flip this page over, this is now our neutral page of the gel series that you were working with. This is now fundamentals in the Prorituals line. Okay, so neutral equals fundamental. And again, this will all be online, so you can re-reference this. I'm just going to repeat myself a lot so you guys can take notes and get this down. So the fundamentals inherently are a bit warmer. And with the gel lines that you're using out there on the market today, you're always going to be warmer. Like as a colorist, you have to think, what am I doing? I'm putting, with gel lines especially, you use 20 volume to cover gray. You're only going to use 10 volume with our line to cover gray, which Danny touched on as well. So with 20 volume, what's happening? Like if you just take, your standard client with a level 6, 7 hair, and you put 20 volume peroxide on head, what's going to happen? It's going to turn orange. So now you're taking my color and you're putting on orange hair, or you're taking any other color and you're putting on orange hair. It's always going to be a lot warmer. All right, so the fundamentals definitely match up to the true neutrals in the gel series line. With the neutrals though, and the fundamentals, there is a 2-level difference, okay? And in certain cases with, level 4 and 5, when you're coming from a level 4 and 5 in a gel series, you're going to have to add a little bit of our beautiful beige series. Okay, let me just make sure my notes are correct. Scratch that. That is not correct. Going back, you're going to use a 6.35, and that's just a little tiny bit in the formula. That's just going to add a little bit of warmth, okay? And this, let me see, because I didn't write that. That is the chocolate. So this little guy right here, you're going to put 1/4 of an ounce of that into your formula at a level 4 and 5. All right. With the gel colors, especially, they use a lot of pure pigments. And this is already pre-mixed. So with gel colors, you're mixing, you're doing your thing. This is already done for you. Makes it a lot easier for everybody. So just at those two levels, a smidge of that 6.35 or that level 6 chocolate is what you're going to want to put in. All right. So again, to reiterate, neutral, fundamental, 2-level difference. All right. So if you're using a 7N, you're going to bump that up, and so on and so forth. I didn't really get into the ultralights because Andrea was definitely touching on the ultralight series, and I'm really excited to see her model actually. And I got to tell you, that lightener that she used, the 20 volume, I mean, you can lighten hair all day with this lightener. It is very amazing. I've worked with a lot of lighteners, tested a lot of lighteners on the market, and I really was impressed with Prorituals. And I got together. That was the first thing I used of theirs. It was their lightener because I do a lot of blondes in the salon, and I was blown away what I could achieve with 20 volume. So these formulas, these toners, and these high lifts match up pretty darn close to our high lift series here. We do have an extra series, which is a super high lift. Okay. This line did not have anything like that. It's still the same rules. You're using double 4D volume in both. Okay. And as we move forward here, we're going to our gold series. And with our gold series, it's the same thing. It's a 2-level difference. So let's just not look at the mocha right now. We're talking gold here. So there's a 2-level difference in all the gold series. So a 2G, which is a very important thing to use in a gel line like this, would be a 4.3 or the level 4G in our line. And it matches up just perfectly, okay? With this said, in the gold series, you're going to switch up your ratios a little bit. All right, when you get to these higher levels, because we only go to a 9 in gold, where this line goes to a 10 and some go to 12 over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to shear those out. So if you really want to achieve this 10G, which in my opinion is very pretty, more of us maybe need to add a little more warmth to our hair for some dimension and livelihood and reflection. But that 10G is going to actually be that 9.3, or for those who speak that language, or 9G, it's going to be mixed 1 to 1.5 to achieve the 10. All right, so sometimes you're just going to have to adjust your lightning, your peroxide ratios a little bit just to shear out the product a little bit. With the chromo prism technology that's in the Prorituals line, the amount of molecules are packed in there so tight. So that William came up with this thing. It was a good visual for me personally. He said, you know, most color lines have molecules the size of like soccer balls and softballs, and then Prorituals has golf balls and BBs. So it's just really packed in there, tiny molecules and a lot more of them. So you do get that superior gray coverage that you're looking for as well because of the amount of pigment that's put in there at those higher levels, which is really, really nice. With that said, this is a translucent line. The gel series are very translucent, they're natural looking. So we're using a 10 volume, not a 20. All right, so if you're coming from gel, most likely you're covering gray with 20. Let's move that to a 10 with our Prorituals line. If you need to make it a semi-permanent line and you are using a demi with the other line, you're going to use our 5 volume developer, okay? You can also adjust your processing time. The 30-minute processing time is what's normally added for gray coverage. On certain aspects, when it comes to like really dark colors and the hair's porosity might be a thing, maybe adjust it to a 20-minute processing time. So you're just going to have to just know your client and what they're looking for to achieve here. This page right here doesn't really exist in the other book. The strawberry blondes, love these, and we have a perfect answer for them. It's called Sun, okay? And those formulas will also be online. They're very, very, very close. That 6RG has been a big one that I've been trying to match up and everything. And then in my notes here in front of me, just looking, here's my copper, 6RG, strawberry blonde, 6.45, which would be my Titan. So this little guy right here, 6.45 or 6RT is going to be your answer for the 6RG. And on the mannequin too, I haven't even applied color yet. Wow, look at me go. It's just like I'm on stage again. Just yak, 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 yak. With the 6RG, I've actually put it on the head here. And as we can see, so these are some of the colors that we can achieve here. And they look very, very natural. These mostly were done with a 20 to 30 minute processing time, okay? The R series in our line is definitely a lot more red. The other line that I was using, our most gel series, don't have a very strong red. This is that 7R in our line. It's very, very pretty. This is an Auburn. These are our VRs over here. So that 6RG is actually right here in the middle by itself. And I don't know with this lighting if you can see, but it is almost an identical match to the swatch in the book of the gel series line that we're using. So if that was part of your formulations, that is going to be a very key tube of color that you're using. Not to mention, I know you guys are used to like a 4-ounce bottle or a bigger bottle. So our tubes are 3.5. That's not exact, but they're almost 4 ounces. So for the price and everything, you're getting the same amount of color if you're switching to the Prorituals line from a gel series. I'm just going to apply a little bit of color here as I talk a little bit more. Put my gloves on. So this is how you put a glove on. It's really exciting. I will say I'm used to talking to people, not a camera. So thanks for tuning in if you're there. And all this information will be available online as well as soon as we're done here. And like I said, I'll get that conversion chart up there in a different format as ASAP as soon as I can. Okay. And I probably will have Jordan finish this up, actually, so I can just talk a little bit more about the lines and the differences in them. So just let me get this applied really quick. So you can just see the processing. With the gel series, it processed very dark. I remember having to explain to my clients, don't freak out. It just looks black. It won't be that color when we're done. This does not process that dark, which is very nice. You don't have to explain to your clients that their hair is not going to be black. It's been fun being back in the salon after this whole lovely pandemic thing, that's for sure. I don't know about you guys, but most of my clients did not touch their hair with box dye, thank God. Some did. Some, the lovely, for my male clients, the white haircuts, those are pretty entertaining to watch as well. So. Jordan, there's just an under piece here, like there's a triangle. If you could just paint that so they can see what this looks like. If you're using gel as well, the ammonia content is normally a little bit higher. You need that in there to drive the molecule in. Our ammonia contents are relatively low in this line. I think when you start talking about our upper 12 series, you're talking about 1 point, and don't quote me, I don't know the exact, but it's like 1.6 or 1.8. On my lower levels, it's well below 1% of ammonia. So you're working with a much more ammonia, a less ammoniated color, which is nice. You can put this color under heat to process, by the way. If you desire, it will speed up your processing time a little bit. I usually don't use heat. I just kind of put it on the head and let it chill. So. And again, too, when you're oxidizing hair color, please don't do this. And I see this when people are toning too. They're just like, and then they go like that. And they smush it there. And it's like this little tiny ball right there. Yeah, the oxygen can't get to that. So you want to open that up so the oxidation process can actually happen. Okay, so when we're applying color, let's just abide by that basic rule. I myself sometimes forget that kind of stuff. So just allow it to oxidize with an open air like that. Okay, and Jordan, actually, I'm going to have you apply the rest of that color. If you wouldn't mind. Put this out. And yeah, just this triangle piece there. Okay. Let me take these off. So we've talked about adjusting formulas by 2 levels on average. We've talked about the 10 volume versus the 5 volume. So if you want it to be a permanent hair color, you're going to use 10 volume always. If you're going to move into your 5 volume, that is going to be not a demi, it is going to be a semi-permanent hair color. Okay. So that is, you know, if they're used to not seeing that line of demarcation, they really don't want that permanent hair color situation, you can move your client into a 5 volume. It's not going to drop the level. That is a 20-minute processing time. Let me stress that. A 5 volume is always a 20-minute processing time. So yeah, and I wouldn't really use heat with that. And again, just pay attention to your porosity and things like that. Back to the book here and your formulas. We are coming out with 2 new colors very, 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 very soon. That when you will be working with your Auburns and your wine Auburns or any of these violet reds or violet red browns, this family right here will be launching very soon. Okay, those 2 series right there. Right now, the 7R exists as a color. And I just want to also point out in some of our formulas, in the cool formulas especially, you're going to be using a smidge, and I have exact formulas on the chart of our blue intensifier to cool it down, okay, in the cool series at those lower levels. I'm talking about a 1N, because in the past, you're probably used to using like a double BB or something like that. So we need to add a little bit more blue to our line. In Prorituals as well, you can use our intensifiers as permanent hair color, okay? So even though this is the 7RR, this is our red intensifier, all right? So that will be put into some of your formulations to achieve some of these Auburn looks and things like that, okay? So we do have a lot more red options for you, which is kind of fun and nice. If you were using gel, there was just not a lot of red options back in that day. Our violet options match up very, very well to our burgundy here. And again, the 5i is our intensifier for the purple. So if you need to add a little bit of that in there, always good to go on that as well. The Dream Oil, we've been talking about the Dream Oil quite a bit. I think everyone's mentioned it so far. That is an amazing product. You can put that right directly in your lightener and your color and anything. 100% totally okay. It just acts as an extra protectant for the hair. It's just gonna soften it up and make sure that nothing is damaged. Not that we damage our clients' hair ever. I certainly don't. That's funny. No, they come to me damaged mostly. While she's working on that, I'm gonna show you some of these colors on the mannequin real quick. Can I move you forward? Oh yeah, okay. Is it good? Oh, it's on, she's good. Okay. And I do apologize about as much natural light as I can get in this room coming through right now to show you guys the differences here. So up front here, this is a very standard color that a lot of people use in most lines. That is the, get the light. That is the 5 Fun right up here in front. So you're going to use a 7N. If you're using a 7N in your gel series, that is your 5 Fun series right there. And it looks very, very natural. That was done with a 10 volume, and that processing time I let on this hair for 25 minutes because this mannequin, I pre-lightened. Okay, I did a heavy highlight on her. So her porosity is going to want to soak up molecules really quick. And everybody knows that porosity loves brown. Okay. So it's going to soak up the darkest molecule possibly can, like as fast as it can. So just adjust your processing time if you're taking them back. Okay. And I don't know a lot of you guys out there. I didn't do a whole lot of lifting with gel color just because the underlying pigment that comes through, it just gets so warm. So a lot of the times I was using either a 10 or 20 just to bump it a level or 2. So if you're used to lifting with gel color and seeing all that warmth come through, you might have to adjust your formulas just a little bit more. I don't think a lot of us are doing that. We're just probably using it for gray coverage mostly. The next color in here would be the 7 Fun. So if I can kind of pull this back and you can see, I want like to get a spotlight on this stuff. Sorry, I swore. So this is the this is the 7 fun right here. 5 fun, 7 fun. Again, very, very natural looking. You're going to use, if you're used to using like a 9 neutral or something like that on your clients, and a lot of you, and me personally, when I was doing gray coverage, I wasn't doing very dark client. That most of these women wanted to be like a level 8, 7, 9, 10. I was putting that on the gray hair for more gray blending purposes, if anything. So you can still see these highlights kind of popping through on here where the color deposited with that 7 fun. So again, if you're using like 9N or even like a 9 cool, something like that, it's still going to give you that really, really natural look. Again, we use 10 volume, adjust your processing times just a little bit, just a tiny bit. So again, using a 9N, you're going to go into our 7 fun. And if we bust this open, and this is the big one I want to show you because this is a very important color. So right here, this is the 5, this is our 5N, okay? And that color right there matches up in the swatch book to the 4BV almost to a T. The 4BV had a little bit more depth, so I could have let it process probably for another 5 minutes to match it exact. And I'm sorry, there's a layer. But that color right there really matched up quite well to that 4BV, which is a very, very important pigment to have in your formulation, things like that. Okay, and then I did use some golds underneath, which are very, very pretty. So we're talking. This is the 4G in the gel line, and we use the 6G to match that as well. So, and then this guy right here is actually our 9N and our 9 beige mixed equal parts to achieve the 10 neutral. Okay, and again, all these formulas will be available on that chart that we've been doing, and I'll make sure to get the formula ready to rock and roll for you guys. On this side, we talked about the reds. This is your 6RG, right? And this is our violets. I did throw a couple other colors underneath here just to kind of mess around with them. So this is another gold here. This is our 8S, which is more of that sun color. So the strawberry blonde, a little bit lighter. And I used to have a lot of strawberry clients personally, so just transitioning them back into this line has been very easy because they have all the tools and all the colors already there. Awesome. And again, when this is processing, it doesn't look black. That's a level 5 with 10 volume. Okay, so it's going to process a little different. I'm just telling you this because your clients are going to look at it, and I don't know if you're telling your clients what you're doing. I normally don't. But if they do ask, they're like, well, why isn't it black anymore? Just know that it doesn't oxidize that dark at all. So let me just check. And this is usually the part I say, yo, y'all having fun? We'd be like, woo, yeah, okay, cool, yeah, good. Again, these are different pigments, okay? So the Chroma Prism technology is always going to pack way more pigments in there than what you're used to using. It's going to be more of a true neutral line than what you're using. So always understand and think about your underlying pigments as you're going. You are exposing a lot more warmth using a 20 volume. We're moving you into a 10. The gray coverage is superior, which is nice. But again, if you want it to match up to your gels to a T, you're going to adjust your processing time just by a little bit, or you're just going to move them into that 5 volumes, things like that. So if you do have any other questions, you all know my handles. Here at Prorituals too, we're creating new hashtags and new things. Level This is one of ours, and there's a story behind that we can get into a little bit later. Ritualize is another one. So if you're doing hair color with our stuff, just please hashtag that stuff so we can find you and track it and check out what you're doing. The whole Level This thing is pretty rad, man. I don't know if you guys have seen this online, but all you gotta do is switch your camera to black and white in mode, and then you can see the level of any color. Any color. Doesn't matter if it's red, if it's purple, if it's brown. You take all the color pigment out, and it will show you the exact level when you hold the level finder up to their hair. And that's why we say level this. So that's kind of our thing. That's what we're doing. That's what we're teaching. I do definitely want to thank you for your time. I want to thank Reliable for allowing me to do this, and especially for our customers here up in Wisconsin. I'm going to be here for you guys. If you have questions, you know where to find me on Instagram. You know where to find me on Facebook, all that fun stuff. I want to thank Jordan for prepping this mannequin with me and doing all this stuff. She's a really great hairstylist. Say bye. So yeah, she's really helped out and is excited to be here as well. So, and Prorituals, thank you for having me on today.